Hi kids, my name's Nicole and this is Let's Make Art and you're here to paint with us together. We are doing a wintry type of tree and we're gonna be using acrylic paint. So before we begin, I want to say hi to Keenan, our cameraman who you will hear. You all know who he is. Just wanted you to see his face.
Hello, how are you? Thank you for coming today.
This is Keenan. So together we are going to be painting. Now grab out all of your supplies. We are going to be painting on paper, so grab some paper. It doesn't matter exactly what paper. And there are 3 colors that we are going to be using together. Now, if you have our box, you can use these exact colors, or if you have any other ones, go and grab that as well. We're going to be using a blue acrylic paint, green acrylic paint, and white acrylic paint. Then, the other fun things I'd like you to grab are your paintbrush. And then this one is something a little bit different. Have you ever painted with a sponge?
No.
So this is a little sponge, so it's called a sea sponge. But we're gonna be using it to paint our fun, beautiful snow background. So this is gonna be such a fun tool to use. Then I would get a cup of water handy and you are all set. Now, here at Let's Make Art, we like to begin with a motto that we'd say together. So if everyone can raise their right hand.
Raised.
And repeat after me. I am brave.
I am brave.
I am kind.
I am kind.
I am creative.
I am creative.
Let's do this. Boom! Okay, so I'm so excited to get going on this with you. Now, the first step that we're gonna do is you will see that we have this really pretty blue background. So grab your sponge, and that's what we're gonna do. Now, if you don't have a sponge, what you can do actually is maybe you grab a piece of paper towel actually. That might work if you rip off a piece of paper towel and you can do the same technique that we're doing.
Oh,
so it's okay
cool.
if you don't have the same exact supplies. I want you to be able to paint with us. So I'm gonna be using my sponge. Now, I opened up my caps.
Does your sponge have a name?
I was gonna say Bob.
Oh!
We can name him Bob. Does that work?
I like that.
Okay, so you're going to dip into your paint. Now, if your sponge is a little bit big, what you can do is you can squeeze it so it's a little bit smaller to get inside the cap. Or if there's too much, use the lid. You can use the cap, or you can use, this is a cap and a lid.
Cap and lid.
Same thing.
And hat.
I like that, a hat. You can use the hat of your paint and you can dip inside that. That might actually be a little bit easier. But what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna get a little bit on here like that, and I'm going to just push on the paper and then lift up.
Dab.
Dab. So it will start to make these, I'm trying to think what shape that is. It reminds me of clouds. That's what I think of, is it really reminds you of clouds. Now, if you are on a surface that you don't want to get dirty, I'm trying to think what I can do. You can grab something and put it underneath. Our table has a lot of paint on it, so we're okay. But if you want to do that, maybe grab a piece of paper and put underneath.
Remember, you can always use the lid of your box.
Oh, yes.
If you have the box.
That's a great idea. So we're just going to continue to push. And you'll notice that I'm not going in any specific or any way. You can have fun with it. You can make, if you want to write a word in the sky, you can do that. You can have fun. You're just going to keep moving around. Now, I want to actually move over. I think this might help me out. And maybe if you want to try this too, I'm going to pick up some paint and move it over here. That way it's easier for me to get.
Does acrylic paint go... I don't know how that would work.
Just make sure you clean your brush.
Does acrylic paint go on crayon?
Does acrylic paint go on crayon?
You know how the watercolor projects, we did a crayon and it went around the crayon?
Oh, I don't know.
Because that could be neat.
That would be really cool.
We should
try that out. You can try that out.
I'll try it.
Perfect. Okay, so I'm going to keep going. And I'm going to go about halfway on my paper. Now, you know what's really cool is you'll see this, is you see some white shining through. If you want a really solid blue background, you're gonna keep going and add more blue on the top. So think of it like you're coloring in the white. So we're gonna keep going. Then, this is really fun.
I like the white shining through because it makes me think of snow.
Yes, so we're gonna make double snow. So, because there'll be some snow right here. Now, you'll notice at the bottom, can you see how there's a little hint of blue?
Yes.
So what we're gonna do is as you go down, what I want you to do is spread out your dabs. So when we're doing that is I'm going to spread them out a little bit more. And also because there's not as much paint on my sponge, it's a little bit lighter of a color. So it feels a little bit lighter of a blue. So I'm gonna kind of spread it out a little bit more. So don't press as hard. So see how it has this effect where it's darker and then it goes lighter as it goes down?
Yes.
So that creates that really beautiful texture. Texture can be anything, and I think of it as when you touch snow, it feels a little bit different. So texture is what it feels like to your fingers. So that's what we're creating, is that on our painting. Now, if you want to mix in some white, I know we can see white, but what you can also do is we have white here. If you want to, I'm gonna use the other side of my sponge. Let's grab my lid.
Oh.
And I'm gonna mix in just a little bit.
What?
Might need a little bit more. So this is such a fun technique. I'm gonna grab a little bit more paint. I like having it in my hat.
Yeah, in the hat.
In the hat. So I'm gonna pick that up. So what it does is it kind of blends it in a little bit. So it feels like it's that snow that's going by you. I don't know. And then, so it's really light. Then what you can do is kind of come up a little bit more.
You mean like flurries?
Yes.
Snow flurries?
Yes.
Yes.
So see how we're coming up a little bit more? And we have a little bit of that white that's just showing through. Now, if you have a lot of white that's showing through, maybe it's like a really big gust of snow came by you. I love that. So you can make yours however you'd like. Then, I think I want to add a little bit more blue to the top. This is where you get to be the artist. When you're done with this, you get to look back and you think, okay, what can I do? Do I like it? Maybe do you want to add a little bit more? This is how you become an artist. And so I want to get a little bit more blue, and I want to make my top really, really blue. So I'm just going to add a little bit more. So you can do this with me as well. There we go, just a little bit more. Now, the next step is that we're going to paint your tree. So what you want to do is, if your paint is still wet, I would go take a snack break and then come back and your paint will be dry. Because what we're gonna do is we're gonna paint the tree on top of our snow so it looks like it's in front of it. Okay, really quick, before you take your snack break, what I'd like you to do are three things actually. One, take your blue, cover the cap. Step two, grab your brush, put it in your paint or in your water and get that a little bit clean. And then last thing is that if you go to the sink and run your sponge under the sink, we want to wash it out. So it'll come out, you'll still have a little bit of paint on it, so that's okay, don't worry about that. But I want you to go clean it out and then meet me back after your snack break. Okay, welcome back for your snack break. Now we are going to do our tree. Grab your green and your white, and also your paintbrush. So we're switching tools. So the cool thing about painting is that you can paint with different tools. We were using our sponge first, now we're gonna use our paintbrush. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna show you how you can draw your beautiful tree. Now, dip into your green with your paintbrush, and we're going to draw a triangle because that's the shape of a tree. Decide how tall, think about your tree, and if it's like this, how tall do you want your tree to be? So the point of your tree is what we're gonna draw. So So it looks like this. So what I want you to do is I want you to pick where that is. So I'm going to pick about there. So I'm going to draw a dot right there. So that's the top of my tree. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start from that. And then I think, yeah, that makes most sense. Is I'm going to start from here and I'm going to pretend to draw a line at the corner and I'm going to draw myself a dot right there. And then let's do the other one. So I'm going to pretend to draw a line and then let's draw a dot right there. So are those dark enough? Can you see that? My 3 dots?
I think I can.
Okay, I'll draw them a little bit bigger than that.
Thank you.
Okay, so I want you to draw yourself 3 dots. That makes a triangle because a triangle has 3 sides. So now what you're going to do is you're going to connect the dots. So I'm going to draw a line draw a line from this dot to this dot. And I have paint on my brush. And I'm going to draw a line. Now, don't worry if your line is not straight. We are creating art and we're also we're creating something that's in Mother Nature. Mother Nature is when you look outside and you see trees everywhere. Are any trees perfect?
No.
No. So it's okay if your tree is not a perfect line and we're going to draw on top of it. So this is just, think of it as your guideline. So I'm gonna do the same thing as I'm gonna draw my line from this dot to this dot. Thank you for the sound effects.
You're welcome.
And then this bottom one it's actually already there. So I don't need to draw a line because I'm just gonna paint on top of that. So that is my triangle. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna fill in our tree. Your tree has all these cool branches and we're gonna create that. So this is a fun technique that I'm gonna let Keenan name how we're gonna name this.
Thank you.
But what we're gonna do is you're going to dip and get some paint on your paintbrush and you're gonna draw small strokes. So I'm gonna push and just draw these strokes and I'm gonna overlap. So I'm gonna go on top of my line that I created. So if you might need to go and get more paint.
We're gonna call this brush the limb.
Deal. So I'm gonna just draw lines going out. So then maybe I'll do about halfway. Then I'm gonna go to the other side and I'm gonna do these brush limb strokes.
Brush the limb.
Brush the limb. And you'll notice and you'll see how they're going from the middle out. So these trees that we're drawing, think of them as I don't know what this motion is.
Flow.
But they're flowing outward. So they're starting from the middle and they're coming outwards. Then the middle part, you can decide, do you want to do the same thing or, getting caught. Or what you can do is you could just draw more on top.
Yeah, do that.
Like that in both directions.
Yes.
So you can have fun with it. You're just drawing these strokes. And if you need to grab more paint, you go and do that. So you'll notice how loose we are. I want you to have fun with this. I want you to make these strokes. You are a painter, you are an artist, and we're just making these strokes. So keep going. And then if you want to keep going all the way down your tree to fill in. Now you'll see maybe my strokes get bigger. Or maybe you want to draw little tiny ones.
Oh yeah.
This is your tree.
What if a squirrel lives there?
Oh, that'll be
That
fun.
would be fun.
Someone can draw a squirrel on theirs. So again, I'm dipping in, you're drawing these stroke on the limb.
Brush the limb.
Brush the limb.
Similar to sweep the leg, but less violent.
Okay. Keenan just made that up. Okay. So when you're doing this, you can keep going. Again, you're drawing your leaves, just drawing little strokes, bringing your tree to life. Now, while it's still wet, what I want you to do is grab your white, clean your brush. So when I clean, I'm just gonna sweep the bottom of my cup. Then I have a paper towel and I'm just gonna kind of roll the color out. It's okay if you have a little bit green on it. But I'm gonna grab a little bit of white. Might need to mix it up a little bit. And what I want to do is while it's wet, I'm going to, can you kind of see how some of it's kind of has color? It's still a little bit wet. Mm-hmm. I'm going to dip in and I'm going to kind of mix into that.
Oh.
So I kind of want to create like a light green.
Oh, that's cool.
And you're doing the same motion. So I'm just drawing these strokes.
It's like it had a nice snow dusting.
Yes. So we're making our tree look frosty. Those are my favorite growing up.
Or that it's getting older because it has gray hair.
Oh my goodness. Yes. It's wise. You have a very wise tree.
Yes.
Yes. So this is your chance to play. You can decide how many strokes you have. Can you see how, again, how loose we are? I want you to be loose. I don't want you to be tense and feeling like this needs to be perfect. This is our time to play and have fun. So I'm adding those. Now, for the last step, is I think I'm going to wash my brush again. And you'll see how there are little white dots. So what I thought of is if we saw this tree, maybe if you close your eyes for a second and imagine yourself walking into a forest, but this forest, all of a sudden, a big snowstorm went by and you're looking, and so you see the little specks of snow kind of fall on the tree. That's what we're gonna draw. So what I want you to do is I want you to grab a little bit more white and we're gonna draw little dots. So to do that is I'm just gonna use the tip of this brush. Your paintbrush is the coolest magic wand. You can see we did these strokes that were like this. Now what we're gonna do is we're just gonna use the tip and I'm just gonna draw little dots. So I'm just dabbing and pressing. Now, this you can do, your whole tree can be filled with these little specks of snow. You can have just a little bit. This is up to you. I'm going to draw a little bit of those. And if it helps, one tip is with the way you hold your brush. If you want a really pointy tip, what you're going to do is I'm going to hold it up vertically. Vertical means that it's pointing up and down. And I'm just going to hold it like that. And then I'm going to lightly tap. So you can draw these specks any different size.
Wow.
So again, you can draw however many you want. Now, last step is, actually there's two steps. I want you to take some time and take a step back and ask yourself, does my tree need anything else? Do you want to draw a star on top? Do you want to, when it's dry, maybe you add some lights on it?
Give it a hat.
You can give it a hat. You can draw Keenan's squirrel popping out on the side of it. Yes. So this is your chance to kind of play with that. For the final step, what I want to do is I want to show you how you can draw a moon. Because in our story, as I said, as we closed our eyes, I also saw a really bright shimmery moon in the night. So is your moon, is it a full moon? It was actually a full moon a couple nights ago here. So full moon is when it's a perfect circle. When I imagined and I painted this, my imagination saw a crescent moon. So crescent moon is where it's like a C shape. So I'm going to show you how to draw that. So I'm going to use my white. And in my sky, so I see this space right here, so I'm going to kind of draw it in that space, I'm going to draw a C. Now, you saw me pause because I saw how wet this is. If it's wet and you don't want to smear it, maybe go take another snack break.
Ooh, yeah.
Unless you're left-handed. Or, no.
What if you rotate it and do a smiley face?
Oh yeah, okay. I was gonna say, how can I do that? Thank you.
You're welcome.
Good tip. Okay, so what we're gonna do is because this part is wet, so Keenan had a great idea. He's a great idea man.
Thank you.
And he told me to flip my page, and I'm gonna do that. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna draw a smiley face, like he was saying, which is a great idea. Because if I do the same thing, you'll see that my crescent moon here is a smiley face.
Ooh, yeah. Or a horseshoe.
Ooh. Yeah. So I have my white, and I'm gonna draw a smiley face. I love that idea.
Nice.
Now, if you want, the moon is really, really cool, and it's different sizes at different points of the month. So maybe you have a really thin crescent moon, or you can make it really thick. So I'm just gonna make it a little bit thicker, like that. So I'm gonna add my point to it. Boom.
Look at that moon.
Great idea. Now, this is your other chance to have fun. Do you want to, in one of our, which tutorial was it? We did a snowman tutorial and we learned how to draw snowflakes. So maybe you want to add little snowflakes on here. Like I said, do you want to draw a star? This is your time to have fun and play, and like you saw me doing, I want you to use your imagination. That is the power that you have inside of you that I want you to always remember that you can use. So this was such a fun one. We're done, except for, you always gotta remember to be kind to your tools. I'm gonna close my caps. I'm gonna clean my brush, sweep the bottom, get it wet. And then what I want you to do is I want you to hold up what you made and be proud of yourself. And I want you to share with us what you made. And you can name your tree.
Please name your tree.
And your moon.
And your moon. And share it with us.
Tell us a story about your scene that you saw.
Yes.
Make up a story and tell us. So we have a Facebook group called Let's Make Art Kid Projects that ask your grown-up to take a picture of you, say I want to share with Nicole and Keenan and the Let's Make Art team what I made. And again, always remember that you are brave, kind, and creative, and I will see you for the next one.